make videos for a living, and today we're gonna try to make something like the video you just saw in here. We'll make it work. I thought I'd bring you guys along on the behind the scenes journey of this product shoot, and it's a pretty unique one because I'm doing it in my home. You know, we're living through crazy times, so the client actually shipped me the product to our home for me to film. But for now, let's just get started. Good morning. Not quite right. Way better. That's the brand is Sky, and these are their newest shoes. They are 100% waterproof, which is really cool. Anyway, we gotta shoot all the details of this shoe, but with the limitations that we have a quick turnaround time and we gotta shoot it out of the garage. In order to achieve this, I need to pick up a specialty lens. It's one that I don't own, so whenever I need to use it, I rent it. We're gonna make a quick little detour. Your appearance has changed quite a bit.
I know. It's like we're in a pandemic or something.
So that's Matt. He's known on Instagram as The Tuninator. Go check him out. He's got amazing artwork. It's awesome to see him doing something creative and productive, and he's looking a little different than he used to. And if you want to know a lot more about what he does, I actually did a video with him, so you can go check that out. He also has a YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description. Isn't that a funky lens? It's actually called a probe macro lens from a company called Laowa. Now what's unique about this guy is three things. One, it is a macro lens. Macro lenses are cool because you can get really close to your subject and still keep them in focus. Most other lenses, you have to kind of be at least a few feet away. But with a macro lens, you can go right up to your subject. Two is that it's a wide angle macro. So even if it looks like a little telescope, it's a wide angle lens, 24 mil. And number three is the shape. It looks like a probe. It is a probe. It could go anywhere. So virus or no virus, I think it's a good idea if you pick up this lens, wipe it with some alcohol before you use it. And let's keep building this setup, okay? If you're doing a video of a product, then the movement of the camera is pretty important. So the first and more obvious tool that we could use to film products is a slider. There's a few different kinds of movements that you can do with this. You can track along this slider. You can move the camera in, you can move the camera out. This is panning, when you turn the camera side to side. You could have a combination of a tracking shot with a panning shot. The tool that I love, that I think takes it to a whole nother level, is a very unsophisticated product. A Lazy Susan. Picked this up at IKEA for like 35 bucks. There's a smaller one too, but I like the bigger one. The beauty of this is not just that you can make your product rotate by putting it there. You could combine the movements of the rotation here and the slider. I think the first instinct with a Lazy Susan would be to make sure that your product is lined up right in the middle so that it's rotating perfectly, and that's fine. But what's actually a bit more interesting is actually if you off-center it. If you combine the movements of a slider, whether you're dollying in and out or tracking side to side, along with the rotation of the Lazy Susan, with the product off-center, the possibilities are endless. This is our setup. There's a lot going on. The shoe on top of some plexiglass or some, I don't know, this is black plastic. And we've got the slider right here. The main key light up here, which is a very soft source because it's being diffused twice in there. That is an Aputure 300D at 80%. The aperture of this lens, which is sort of like the opening. So when it allows the most light in, it's an f14, which is actually quite narrow. So basically, in layman's terms, this lens needs a ton of light. This one is acting kind of like a fill light. So it's giving a little bit of extra light in the front where there's a bit too much shadow. Then the two 4-foot Quasars are just decorative. Kind of creates this cool V shape in the background. But that's kind of it. A lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, it gets us the shot we need. There you go. In this case, you're creating the action. You're responsible for every movement and every visual element that you see on the screen. An event or a documentary where you're following the action and trying to film it as beautifully as possible. So it's sort of two ends of the spectrum of like complete control versus really no control. I like to swing back and forth between those two. It keeps things interesting. I hope that was insightful. I hope it was helpful. And you know, you can use some of these ideas on much more simple setups. You don't need all the lights and stuff. And you can also make it far more complex. I mean, ideally, you would have done this with a robotic arm and you would just program it all into a computer and it would all get done. That's not the tools or the budget we were working with today. So the garage had to make do, and I think we pulled it off. Hopefully you found that helpful or interesting at least. See you next time.